Well, hey there, and welcome to Jim's Kitchen. Today's episode is dedicated to another special cookbook. This one is the Little House Cookbook, based on the Little House on the Prairie book series. Do you remember Little House on the Prairie and the TV show? Can you believe it? This year is the 50th anniversary of that TV show. I'm old. So this book is chock full of recipes that are mentioned in the Little House on the Prairie book series. Now, you know, I did read the books, but there was one book in particular that I absolutely loved. It was actually one of my favorite books from childhood, and I read it many times. It was the second book in the series, Farmer Boy, which kind of followed the childhood of Laura Ingalls' husband, Almanzo. And the recipes I'm gonna do today are kind of based on the Farmer Boy book. I'm gonna be starting by making a dish that's mentioned in the book, creamed carrots. Both Almanzo and Laura Ingalls Wilder both enjoyed carrots. They loved them creamed, candied, mashed, stewed, and they would even love eating them raw. So, we're gonna try them creamed. It's mentioned in the book that Almanzo ate multiple helpings of creamed carrots. Let's give it a try. You start by cutting a few carrots. I'm cutting them about this thin. Then you put them inside of a pot. I'm going to cover those carrots with a can of chicken broth. You can use water too. I'm going to cover it and then bring it to a boil. And then once it boils, turn that temperature down and allow it to simmer for about 15 minutes. We want those carrots to be fork tender. While those are cooking, we have to make a creamy paste. Grab a small bowl. We need a couple tablespoons of softened butter and 2 tablespoons of flour. You need to kind of work that butter into that flour. Then you're going to gradually add a 1/4 cup to a 1/3 cup of cream and work that in there. You want to create a nice paste, a nice thin paste. It is fork tender, and I removed it from the heat. Now I'm going to add that paste in there with a wooden spoon. I'm going to mix that in. And then back on the heat until the cream gets nice and bubbly. That cream has definitely thickened. I'm going to season with a little salt and pepper. And there you have it, folks. Creamed carrots. Creamed carrots. It's good, soft and creamy. Exactly what it says. And yes, those carrots have a nice sweetness to them too. I'm ready to turn off the lights, turn on the fireplace, light up some candles, and have a nice time enjoying my creamed carrots. Time for a special reading from Farmer Boy. He knelt on the ice, pushing sawdust into the cracks with his mittened hands and pounding it down with a stick as fast as he could. And he asked Royal, "What would you like best to eat?" They talked about spare ribs and turkey with dressing, baked beans and crackling cornbread, and other good things. But Almanzo said that what he liked most in the world was fried apples and onions. When at last they went into dinner, there on the table was a big dish of them. Mother knew what he liked best, and she had cooked it just for him. I've certainly never had fried apples and onions before, and it's usually served with bacon. It's a bacony dish as well. So let's try making it. We're going to start by frying up some bacon in a skillet. The book did mention that this was a popular dish from the time period, but that it's seldom mentioned in cookbooks, and it was certainly a comfort food back then. I'm gonna need to chop a couple onions. The book did mention one tip. It said to chop them kind of thinly, and it said to avoid getting tears in your eyes, that you should chop them with a slice of bread in your mouth. What's that? It kind of works. Have you ever tried this technique or any other technique? I know I've tried chopping onions with a wooden spoon in my mouth too. And now it's time to slice up some apple. And this is best to do with a slice of cheese in your mouth. I like it nice and crispy. I need that bacon grease. It's time to toss in those onions. After a couple minutes, you add those apples. On top of those apples, you need to sprinkle a couple tablespoons of brown sugar. Then I'll put a lid on there, and we're gonna cook it for about 5 minutes until tender. It looks ready. Ooh. And here it is, served with some bacon and the mouth bread. Let's taste it. It's great. Love the sweetness of the apple. This is a wonderful, comforting country meal. Thanks, Almanzo. Popcorn and milk. Almanzo looked at every kernel before he ate it. They were all different shapes. He had eaten thousands of handfuls of popcorn and never found two kernels alike. Then he thought, if he had some milk, he would have popcorn and milk. You can fill a glass full to the brim with milk and fill another glass of the same size brim full of popcorn. And then you can put all the popcorn, kernel by kernel, into the milk, and the milk will not run over. You cannot do this with bread. Popcorn and milk are the only two things that will go into the same place. Is Almanzo true about this popcorn and milk? I gotta try it out. Okay, I've got my popcorn and my milk. It's time to try it out, kernel by kernel. Wow, well there you have it. It's true. Popcorn and milk. I'm so surprised. Cheers. I'm thirsty for some popcorn. It sure was fun exploring this cookbook. I have a YouTube friend, her name's Heidi's Here and There, and she actually read the entire Farmer Boy book on her channel. You can see a link to that book reading in my description. Thank you so much for watching Jim's Kitchen. It is so much fun to explore different types of food. Why did the popcorn go to the doctor? It was feeling constipated.